All right, and welcome back to the forecast card. Unfortunately, not a great day. I don't think my reads were honestly that bad today. I just think I got a lot of kind of rotten luck. If we want to go through each game, Nats versus Pirates. Um, there's 15 left on base this game. Ton of opportunities. Somehow Jake Irvin has like basically a perfect game. Not what I expected. And there's really only one home run. I thought we were chilling after there was like basically a leadoff home run in this game. But after that, not a single one. Yeah, maybe I just read the game wrong, but I thought there was a ton of opportunities, a bunch of loaded bases, double plays. Um, yeah, I just don't know where the runs went. Just seems like these pitchers kept getting out of really bad situations. It is what it is, I guess. Phillies first five, of course, they end up winning the full game by two, so they end up getting 2 runs in the sixth and 2 runs in the seventh. But of course, it goes into the sixth tied 2-2, which of course is a loss when you have the run line first five. So that really sucked that they kind of got hot when it didn't matter at the end. Uh, yeah, they end up having a ton of left on base early on, ton of opportunities. I think in the bottom of the fourth, they had corners, one out. Of course, they hit into a double play. I'll just get one sac fly hit there, we cover. Yeah, just frustrating. Philly still hit a over one OPS, which is pretty crazy. Sucks that we didn't end up cashing in that game. Right read, just wrong side, I guess. Guardians money line cashes pretty sweat free. Yankees run line not sweat free at all. Honestly, they were only winning by two for like the entire second half. But again, they had 9 left on base for the Royals five. They had a lot more opportunities. But again, not a single home run. The Royals were the only one to get a home run. So I really expected the Yankees to pull ahead of that game with their juice bats at home with the wind blowing out, but they don't get a single home run. That kind of sucks. Tigers Brewers over. Of course, the Tigers get 0 runs. Man, they've been like one of the best offenses, and they can't get any runs off of Quinn Priester and arguably the worst bullpen like this year. The Brewers end up getting five. The Tigers only get one fucking hit. They just get completely trashed by Priester. He gave up 3 walks, only one hit. And the bullpen goes perfect on a no hitter. So I don't know what happened with the Tigers bats today. Something was off with them, but all we needed was three runs from them. I thought it would be the other way around. I thought we were gonna need Brewers to get some hits, but that game really pissed me off a little bit. Angels Rangers over. Clearly just a wrong side here. No home runs in this game, despite the fact that I thought there'd be a ton. Um, Molly completely dished. Kikuchi had a crazy game as well. Yeah, again, no home runs. Mike Trout goes over three. Uh, all the guys that I typically like. Ohun or Ohop, whatever, Logan Ohop. He didn't even play, which kind of sucked. Um, yeah, Rangers end up getting 4 runs. Uh, and Angels get completely shut out. Cubs first five, they end up winning the full game. They have 7 left on base in the first five. Obviously, Padres also have, I think they had 6 left on base in the first five. But man, the Cubs completely dominated this game. 14 left on base. Imanaga only gave up 1 run in the first five, and it was like ridiculous where they shouldn't even had the run, if I'm being honest. So yeah, it was pretty a nasty game. It is what it is. And then Rockies first five. I actually had a lot of hope until whatever Will Smith hit the 3 run home run, but up until then they were keeping it close. They kept getting runners in scoring position and then striking out, which is what I get for back in the Rockies. But um, yeah, shitty 2-6 day. I genuinely believe that I got like that. My only really bad pick today. Even the Rockets game wasn't that bad. The game ended up being pretty close at the end of the game. Other than that 3 run home run, that was basically it for the Dodgers offense. It just happened to happen in the first five, which kind of sucked. Um, yeah, I think Angels and Rangers was probably my worst bet, but I think every other one had a lot of potential to have cashed. Just kind of bad luck. So it is what it is. Hopefully today is a little bit better. Uh, it sucks that whenever I go on heaters and then I get a little bit more, some new people here, it always ends up being a shitty day. So hopefully I can make it up to you guys today. All right, heading on to game number one, we have the Braves heading on the road to play the Jays. Now, obviously, wind is blowing in, it's going to be freezing, but the Jays, of course, do have a dome stadium, so I'm expecting this to be a domed environment. Um, I kind of like both the Jays and the under 8 here. I'm probably not going to bet it just because I think the variance of what we're going to see from Strider is he's either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. And maybe I'll make a live bet, see if Strider's control looks decent, and maybe I'll take the Jays. If it looks bad, Sorry, if it looks bad, I'll probably take the Jays. If he looks like he's been practicing well, he looked really good in AAA. So who knows? Maybe he's back. But yeah, I'd probably prefer the under here. Both these lineups have not been too good against right-handed pitching. Both bullpens have been decent in xFIP, both about average. I think it'll be a good game. Bassett's been cooking. Strider's been obviously on the IR, but I think he's gonna be right back to normal. The Toronto really struggles with these fastball pitchers, so um, I'm gonna lean the under 8 here in the Jays, but no bet for me. All right, that brings us to game number 2. We have the Tigers heading around the road to the Brewers. Now, I refuse to believe that Detroit continues to have a struggle offensively. Like they have a really solid team. Um, Kyler Montero is going to be pitching for them. He was being okay. Obviously, he wasn't even the main. He wasn't even in the main lineup. He was okay last year. He wasn't phenomenal, especially on the road. He had a 5.89 ERA. Really struggled. Didn't get a lot of strikeouts. Gave up a lot of home runs, a lot of walks. Yeah, he was 3-1 on the road, which means he does get run support, which I do like. But he really struggles against righties, and Milwaukee. A lot of their really good batters like Churio, Contreras, Reese Hoskins, all righties, and he's still not even that good against lefties. So I think the Brewers were going to continue to get some runs here. Jose Quintana had a really good start. His first game, he only gave up 4 hits, no earned runs over 7 innings pitched. I think that was unrealistic. He only had 2 strikeouts, so most of his outs were balls in play. It's not really something that you want to see consistently. Um, this year, he's still struggling big time against lefties. Um, Obviously, most of the lineup here for the Tigers is righties, but I think they're going to get to him. Tigers hit lefties at a pretty decent rate this year. Um, if you look at their stats, they're hitting at a 98 WRC plus, so I guess slightly below average, but still small sample size. Away versus lefties, 108 WRC plus, so a little bit better when not playing at home. And on the other side, Milwaukee at home versus left righties, they've been pretty solid this year. Again, nothing crazy, but still like top 15, above 100 WRC plus. So I don't really love either of these bullpens. Both of them are going to be kind of beat up. Brewers bullpen still sucks. I think the Tigers um, are going to be pretty upset with how they performed yesterday, getting up 0 runs. I think Quintana is due for a shitty game after an elite start. Weather in this game is going to be blowing slightly in. It's going to be pretty warm, but again, it's going to be in Brewer Stadium. I don't trust either of these pitchers. Um, I'm expecting some runs this time around. I'm just going to take the first 5 over, though. Um, I do really want to centralize it to both of these pitchers because I do think they're both going to get lit up here early. So first 5 over for me. All right, heading on to game number 3, we have the Mets head on the road to play the Twins. Now, David Festa, he's not bad. He had a pretty okay start in his one start against the Tigers. 4 innings, gave up only 3 hits, no earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Really not terrible. He's looked kind of shitty though in the uh, minor league games. He played Columbus and gave up 10 hits. But he played the April 11th game in Detroit, and he looked decent. So I think he's good. Their bullpen's pretty solid this year. Um, I think now that he's kind of got his shakes out of the way, he's going to look good, especially against a Mets lineup that's been struggling to hit righties this year. Jose Urena, he's been mediocre on the road, but he's a pretty solid home pitcher. Last year, 6 innings pitched, he had a 2.5 ERA. Doesn't get a ton of Ks, decent amount of walks, but um, he's looked really good in terms of getting people out. So I kind of do like that. In terms of weather, which is I guess the bigger reason why I like this game, it's gonna be blowing in from right field, which historically is like some of the lowest scoring games, especially with at bats that don't really hit righties that well. If you look at the advanced stats here from both teams, versus right-handed pitching, the Mets 22nd in WRC plus with 92. Minnesota 21st with 93. At home versus righties, Minnesota um, 99, so still slightly below average. The Mets were on the road versus righties, slightly better, around 97, but still all below average. I think both Mets have they're currently the best bullpen, and Twin Stadium not necessarily known for a ton of runs. I think because it's a day game, I think these bats are going to be a little bit cold in the morning. Um, Weather's not going to be great. It's going to be 43 degrees with winds blowing in. So I think this is going to be a pitcher day. I really like the under eight here. All right, heading on to game number four, we have the Astros heading on the road to play the Cardinals. Now, this is kind of a get right spot for me. Again, I think Steven Matz had a really good start, and Ronald Blanco's had a couple of tough starts, but historically, Ronald Blanco last year was really good on the road. He played 80 innings pitched, his Ks were up. He did have a bit of problem with walks, but he had 2.36 ERA, which is pretty solid. Even the year before that, he's averaged a 3.27 ERA on the road. He's obviously having a bit of a tough start. He's given up, more than 3 hits in all three of his starts. Strikeouts have been decent. He's given up, yeah, not great. Definitely not solid, but he has played some pretty tough bats. I guess the Angels and the Giants have been pretty good against righties this year, and then he played against the Twins. Um, yeah, I think this is where he gets right after a tough start. Steven Matz, again, I just don't think he's that good. He's going to be a part of the rotation now, but he's really been more of a bullpen arm. Um, he's looked decent, but again, his most recent start against Philly, he pitched for 2 innings, gave up 5 hits, an earned run, only 1K. The game before that, he gave up 1 hit, 1 run, 1 inning, and that was against Pittsburgh. Then he played Boston, he played 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, only 1K. I don't really trust him to go deep, and I don't really like the Cardinals bullpen. And he really struggles historically against right-handed hitting. And again, Astros are basically all righties. So I think this is kind of a get right spot here. Um, Historically, if you look at the last year's stats against left-handed pitching, the Astros were the best. They were literally the best team against left-handed pitching to end off the year. And this year, they barely played any left-handed pitching, mostly because obviously they're planning to use righties. So it's kind of rare that the Astros get to play a lefty. So I think this is a get right spot here. I think we're getting a really good price with the Astros because um, Ronald Blanco has looked bad, Steven Matz has looked good, and the Cardinals have looked good, and the Astros have looked bad. So, but I think this is definitely a get right spot here for Blanco and the righty bats to really get to Steven Matz here. So give me Astros on the money line. All right, that brings us to our next game. We have the Cubs heading on the road to play the Padres. Now I'm going to run it back. Luckily, I'm just going to take it on the money line here. So at least if it's tied, we get a push. But I really like what I've been seeing from Matt Boyd. And again, the Cubs, despite having a really rough day, are still the number one team last year and this year on the road against right-handed pitching. And historically, they have done really well against Nick Pivetta. They had set in 74 at bats against him, 22 hits, 6 walks, 4 home runs, a batting average of .297, and OPS of .910. So clearly, this is a tough matchup here for Pivetta. He has pitched better at home historically, but this just seems like a tough matchup for him. He had a really rough road start this year. Obviously, he's been really good at home, but again, it seems like the Cubs know how to hit him, and a lot of that lineup is very similar to what he's dealt with in the past. If anything, it's gotten better with Kyle Tucker added to the mix. So I think that's going to be tough. I think the Cubs are going to be pretty pissed off with how many people they left stranded yesterday. I think they're going to lock in. Um, but I'm only going to take them on the first five. Don't really want to deal with the bullpens. The Padres have had a really good bullpen this year. And if you look at Matt Boyd this year, he's been really, really good. And he's been really good against righties. Historically, he's been elite versus lefties. Not bad against righties, but he's actually been really good against righties. He's thrown mostly to righties, and he's kept them pretty much at bay completely. 12 strikeouts, only 5 walks, only 8 hits over 50 batters is pretty elite. He's looking really good. He looked really good last year. Didn't really get a lot of work last year, but he's looking like he's got some really good stuff. So I think the Padres don't hit lefties too well. If you look at the weather for this game, it's going to be blowing left to right, which historically is going to be a lot better for lefty bats with the wind kind of carrying their ball. While the Padres only have one lefty right now in Luis Reyes, so the Cubs with 4 lefties, I think they're going to have the advantage of the wind. I think it's going to be a pretty warm game. So, yeah, I love what I've seen from Matt Boyd so far this year. I think Pivetta is a good pitcher, but this just seems like a nightmare matchup for him. That's only gotten better with Kyle Tucker being added to it. Cubs got really unlucky. Again, 7 left on base on the first 5. I think they're going to get some home runs this time around. and they're going to be able to kind of light up Nick Pivetta early here. So Cubs first side money line at plus 100. That's going to be my bet for this game. All right, heading on to our next game, we have the Guardians versus the Orioles. This is going to be an interesting one. So I've looked at this matchup a few times. I just feel like it has to be. I'm gonna have two bets in this game because I can't really decide on which I prefer. Um, I think Gavin Williams on paper is the better pitcher, but again, haven't really known. His velocity is down, his Ks are up, but again, he's pitched against three mediocre lineups. He played against the Royals, who have been one of the worst teams against righties this year, and he still gave up four hits, two earned runs, only two strikeouts. Then he played the Angels. Again, they've been pretty good this year, but still not great. He gave up one home run, three walks, five hits, and only pitched 3 innings. Then he played another game, 5 innings. He had pretty good, seven strikeouts, but he still gave up an earned run. This was against the White Sox. So I just don't think he's had to play very tough competition. I don't necessarily think I trust him. And historically, his numbers on the road have been way worse, at least this year, than they have been at home. So I think that's going to be a tough matchup for him. Um, I think the Orioles bats are kind of due to start getting hot. Gunnar Henderson is going to be getting back to normal uh, after not really getting much of a spring training. On the other side, though, uh, Dean Kremer, terrible. Back-to-back games, giving up 8 hits. Gave up 3 home runs in his last game, all against lefties. Um, yeah, this year he's faced 40 lefty batters and given up 14 hits, 4 home runs, 2 walks, only 6 strikeouts. So he struggles with the lefty, and the Guardians have 7 of their 9 batters are going to be batting on the left side. So that's going to be tough for him. The Orioles on the same side, they have 6 of their batters are going to be batting left. And historically, when wind's blowing left to right, you want to have lefty batters. You want the winds to be kind of supporting the same direction of your ball. So any kind of hit fly ball that's going to be going into left field is really going to get carried into the shorter parts of the field. So I'm expecting a ton of home runs this game. Both these pitchers give up a lot of hard contact. It's going to be a little bit on the chillier side, but it's going to be clear. Orioles Stadium, not necessarily the greatest for runs, but yeah, I think with the wind blowing in so heavily left to right, I think it's going to be tough for the outfielders to deal with it. So I have two bets. I'm gonna have the first 5 over 4 at minus 120, but I'm also gonna take the Guardians team total over 3.5. I think the Cleveland Guardians have too good of a bullpen for me to want to take the full game over. Um, and again, Kremer sometimes has a good game. So if we get to the Baltimore bullpen, which I don't really think is that good, I think the Guardians can still get this number. So two bets: Guardians team total over 3.5, and the first 5 over 4. I think this is probably the first time I'm going to take two bets, both kind of similar. Hopefully, the script isn't going to end up being like a 3-0 Orioles win or something. Um, but again, it just feels like such a great spot here with two lefty lineups to take overs. So yeah, I'm going to be on both those two for this game. All right, heading on to the next game, we have the Diamondbacks heading on the road to play the Marlins. Now, Marlins are going to have this game domed, I believe. I think that they're calling for it. And the park factor in Miami when the dome is up is actually the number one in park factor. Home runs are up, third base, triples are up, doubles are up, first base are up, hits are up, on base percentage is up, runs are up, strikeouts are down, walks are down. Um, I think we're going to see a ton of runs in this game. Both of these pitchers, historically known to be kind of strikeout or home run guys, especially Max Meyer. If you look at the advanced stats for any of the pitchers last year, Max Meyer was the worst for giving up hard contact. He averaged three on the road. He averaged 3 home runs per 9 innings pitched. Worst, I think, probably the worst in all of pitchers. And last year he was really bad on the road. Yeah, he's been a bit better this year, but he hasn't had to play really that tough of competition. He played the Pittsburgh at home. Obviously, he had a pretty good game against a terrible Pittsburgh lineup. Then he played Atlanta, and this was in early April before the Braves were looking decent again. And he still gave up 8 hits and 3 earned runs. He had 8 strikeouts, but again, the Braves strike out a ton because they just kind of swing for home runs over and over again. And then he played the Mets, where he had a really great start, 6 innings, no earned runs. He looked great. But again, that was at Mets Stadium, where it's home runs are a bit less frequent than they are when they're playing at home. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough spot for him. The one time he's given up a home run this year was at home. Now he's gonna be back there, where the D-backs have some of the bigger home run guys. They got Josh Naylor, Pavin Smith, Corbin Carroll, all guys that can have hit a bunch of bombs, especially yesterday. So I think we're going to see that. And then on the other side, Miami's lineup's all lefties for the most part, 7 of 9 lefties. So that's going to be tough for Prafad, who has struggled against lefties in his career, especially in 2024. He had a 2.94 batting average against lefties, giving up 12 home runs and only 76 strikeouts. So I think we're going to see a lot of runs this game. Stadium wise, not none of these pitchers are really that great, and about a lot of lefties and mix up, which is going to be definitely beneficial for an over. So I'm the over 8.5 on this game. I don't really love either pitcher, and I think these lineups have the ability to really get some runs going. All right, heading on to the next game, we have the Mariners heading on the road to play the Reds. Um, both these pitchers haven't looked phenomenal yet to start the year. Nick Martinez, he's really only had one good start this year, and even then, he still gave up 4 earned runs in that game. So I'm expecting both these pitchers to continue to struggle. Obviously, he's played some pretty tough bats. He's played times against the Giants, once against the Brewers, but gave up at least 3 earned runs in all of them. 4 earned runs in two. He's given up 3 home runs, 4 walks, uh, 11 runs on 16 hits, and only 15, 16 innings pitched. So he's really been struggling. Um, Obviously, he's kind of due to get better. He was much better last year than he is this year, but he's been struggling against lefties big time. And the Mariners have a pretty lefty-heavy lineup with 2 switch hitters. They have potentially 6 lefties. I think that's going to be a problem, especially considering the ballpark that they're playing in is very hitter friendly. And on the other side, Bryce Miller, he's been historically known to be a guy that doesn't give up a lot of hard contact. He's only given up 1 home run, but he's been really struggling with walks, giving up 3 walks in back-to-back games. We saw what happens in the Reds when they do get their. They're really good with risk, especially lately. Every time I think they've had loaded 3 times this year. Twice they've gotten a grand slam. Um, his really only good start this year has been against Texas, but again, he only went 5 innings with 100 pitches because of his walk problem. He gave 1 run on 2 hits. Giants, he gave up 7 hits, 4 earned runs. Again, his only start where he didn't play at home, which is a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. He gave up 4 earned runs, 3 walks. Really not great. A 5.73 ERA at that point. So um, he also kind of struggles with lefties. And again, the Reds aren't very lefty heavy, but they do have 4 lefties. And in this ballpark, I think we're just going to see a lot of runs. Both these are right-handed pitchers. Uh, both these lineups have been really hitting the ball well. We saw 12 runs yesterday, and that's with 2 aces on the mound. Louis Castillo gave up 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, and a home run. Meanwhile, Lodolo gave up four runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 2 home runs. So clearly, this ballpark is just kind of juice. Now we're getting 2 significantly worse pitchers. Lineups are kind of more used to the environment in the stadium. I think we're going to see a lot of runs here. That being said, I do think their bullpens are decent. Um, you could argue that they kind of been used yesterday, so maybe the full game over is a better bet, but that's gotten juiced up to 9. I don't really love that number, so I'm going to be on the first 5 over 4.5. I think these pitchers take a little bit to get warmed up, but I think once they do, they get figured out in the stadium, we'll probably stop seeing runs in like the 4th or 5th, so I'm hoping for a ton of runs to come early. All right, heading on to our next game, we have the Nationals heading on the road to play the Pirates. I just feel like you can't back this Pirates team no matter what. I see a lot of people on the Nationals, which is obviously the right side. You have a better pitcher, better lineup against a worse pitcher and a worse lineup. But the fact that the line is still basically a pick 'em for me tells me something is off. Either that Bailey Falter is gonna heat up here. The Pirates are historically a better team against lefties. At least they were last year. So I'm not personally not going to be touching it. Fully understand if people want to be on the over or on the national side. It makes sense, but sometimes I think it makes a little bit too much sense. So perhaps I'm missing something. So I'm just going to kind of lay off this one. Maybe look for a live bet. But yeah, my lead on this game would be the over 8.5. Moving on to our next game, we have the Giants versus the Phillies. Um, Again, well, another weird matchup. Obviously, Robbie Ray is probably the worst pitcher here, but he's looked pretty good this year. 3-0 start, sub 3 ERA. Clearly, he gets a lot of run support in these games. Aaronola is due for eventually a good bounce back game, but he's really looked pretty mediocre in his starts, and he hasn't necessarily played that tough of competition this year. Obviously, he played the Dodgers, but again, Nationals, Cardinals, maybe teams that he should be getting to a bit easier. So. Um, I'm personally not going to touch this game. I think Nola is due to bounce back. And I think Robbie Ray continues to be pretty solid, like he has been in the past against this Phillies lineup. So I'm going to be on the under 7.5. Um, Looks like the weather is going to be blowing left to right. Going to be a little bit chilly. But again, I'd probably just take the team with more lefties, which is probably going to end up being. I think they have the same amount of lefties. No, the Giants actually have more lefties, and they're against a right-handed pitcher. So, anyway, I'm gonna be on the under here as a lean, under 7.5, but no bet for me. All right, heading on to the next game, we have the Red Sox heading on the road to play the Rays. Now, I'm actually gonna end up switching my bet here. I'm gonna just take the Guardians team total over 3.5 and drop the first five over four, because I don't really want to double dip in two plays that are kind of going in the same direction. Because then I might as well just take the one I'm more confident in, which is the Guardians side. Um, and I'm going to take the Rays on the money line here. I think Littell is due to bounce back. He's looked really tough in his starts, but his xFIP last year was really solid. I think he's going to figure it out. And Sean Newcomb's been really bad, especially against right-handed hitters and on the road. He's been terrible. He's given up an above 300 batting average against righties, .317 over 127 batters. He's given up 33 hits and 18 walks. So he's struggled, and even this year he has a .395 batting average against righties. The Rays, all righties. They have two switch hitters at the end of their lineup, and both of those are probably going to switch righty. Again, the Rays haven't necessarily been that good against lefties compared to how good they've been against righties. But at home versus left-handed pitching this year, they're still a top seven, 116 WRC plus, over 129 at bats. Um, I think they're going to continue to hit well. Uh, yeah, I think I really like the Rays here. I don't like Sean Newcomb. I think Littell still, despite having a worse ERA, has a better xFIP. And Sean Newcomb on the road, I just don't trust him. And I also think the Rays have a much better bullpen here than the Red Sox. So give me the Rays money line at -135. I'm gonna lock that one in here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Royals heading on the road to play the Yankees. Um, it would have to be Yankees run line or pass for me. I just can't I can't back this Rays team until I see them do something. Um, they're like the worst team against righties, like the bottom five against lefties. Their offense has just been invisible, and eventually that's gonna bounce back, and you can try to time when you think that's gonna happen. But I'm just in no interest in trying to figure that out. Um, so yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, go right ahead. But yeah, I think Chris Bubik's elite. That's probably the only reason I would want to back them. But Clark Schmidt's also been pretty good this year. So if I had to bet any side, it would be Yankees or the under. But I'm not even sure if there's a lean I like in this game. I think this is just a weird spot. Two decent but like not elite pitchers. You're not really sure if they're that good. Clark hasn't played yet this year. And the Yankees bats have not been as incredible as they were to start off the year. So um, yeah, it'll be under Yankees for me, but I'm not going to bet this game. Heading on to the next game, we have the Athletics heading on the road to play the White Sox. Now again, another weird one. Jonathan Cannon's been really bad this year, but historically he's been pretty good at home. Oswaldo Bido looked really good to end off last year, but he's kind of, I don't know, maybe hit a plateau. He's looked pretty good this year, but definitely not as good as he once was. He's kind of gotten a bit lucky. Against Padres, he gave up 9 hits, uh, and he only gave up 2 earned runs, so got out of a few pickles there. His whip is definitely um, not phenomenal, and he's not went further than 5 innings pitched. So um, don't particularly love the Oakland bullpen, but it's not bad. That being said, he's been really good on the road. But again, John Cannon's been really good at home. So if I had to pick a side in this game, it'd probably be Athletics first five. I think they do get a few hits off of John Cannon. I think Bito's the better option, and the Athletics just have the better bats. Maybe take the over just because the weather's decent. Uh, but I could also see arguments for why the under might be in play. Just a weird spot. I don't really like laying like -200 lines with the Athletics. I just really don't know if they're actually good now or if they're just kind of playing good right now. But their lineup, when I look at it, actually doesn't look bad at all, especially with Jacob Wilson kind of hitting the ball well. So we'll kind of see. Maybe I'll look for a live bet in this game, but no bet for me. Heading on to our next game, we have the Angels heading on the road to play the Rangers. I fully understand, like, but Patrick Corbin, like, he's just so bad. Like, he's only had one start this year. He gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, two walks. If you look at the xFIPs of every pitcher that's pitched this year, Patrick Corbin's already bottom five. Like, he's all the way at the bottom there with Estes and Merrill Kelly and Nestor Cortez, and Chris Padlock, Chris Paddock, Logan Allen. Like he's in the dumpster already. He only pitched once. The Angels don't really hit lefties at some incredible rate. But again, they have a very righty lineup, and Corbin historically struggled a big time with righties. That's kind of his problem. A .307 batting average since 2023. He's faced 1,300 batters, and he's given up 87 walks, 360 hits, 53 home runs. Um, this year, again, he's already sucked on the road, where he's pitched much, much worse. Obviously, we're getting him at home here, where he's pitched a little bit better, but again, I don't know. He hasn't pitched at home yet with the Rangers. I'm really surprised the Rangers wanted him, but um, yeah, I don't know. I just think Soriano's the better starting pitcher here. I think the Angels have the slightly better offense, and I just think Patrick Corbin is really not that good. If you look at the weather in this game, it's going to be blowing pretty heavily right to left, so you're going to really want more righty hitters, and that's basically all the Angels have. So I think their hits are going to really carry here, and I think we're going to see. Um, oh, sorry, the game's actually going to be domed, so it doesn't necessarily have a huge advantage for the Angels. Let me quickly look here at the condition, roof closed, Angels. Oh, sorry, Rangers versus righties. Yeah, still a ballpark that is beneficial for Rangers on the right on the left on the right hand, and versus lefties. Yeah, but the same either way. So um, don't particularly love it as much as I did earlier because didn't realize it was going to be a domed game. But I still do like it. I think Soriano's the better pitcher. And I know it's too easy to fade Corbin and this line is way too short. But I think after the yesterday's game where the Angels got shut out, I think they bounce back here and get to Corbin for a few runs. Should be enough. But again, I don't want to deal with the Angels bullpen, so I'll be on the first five money line. All right, bringing us to our final game, we have the Rockies heading on the road to play the Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers juice continues to be way too much here. And I fully get that I'm an idiot for continuously back the Rockies. I just got screwed in the last game. But man, if it wasn't for that home run, I would have cashed. I'm just going to. Will Smith just pulled that shit out of his ass. That being said, I'm just going to fully isolate. I know the Dodgers are going to get their runs. But the line for Rockies team total is only 2.5. And Bobby Miller has not looked great. Obviously, the Rockies don't do a lot of good stuff, don't do a lot well. They're the worst team against righties for a reason. But Bobby Miller has been looking really bad in the minors. He's given up in his last 3 games. He's given up 11 walks, 6 hits. He hasn't run that many innings. He's given up 1 home run, 3 earned runs. Obviously not terrible. But again, he's really struggled against righties in his career. He's going to be up against a pretty much entirely righty left up lineup in the Rockies. I think they have no, they have 3 lefties. That being said, weather and it's going to be Dodger Stadium. Weather's going to be good again, and they still have a team of guys that can hit home runs. Like they still have Ezekiel Tovar, Kyle Farmer, Ryan McMahon, even Michael Toglia, Mickey Moniak. These are all guys that have the ability to go yard. So if we just get a couple walks and a couple home runs, like this is going to be really easily hit. So I'm going to be on the Rockies team total over 2.5. I just can't lay the points with the Dodgers. Yes, they covered the -2.5 if you bet it today, but it was pretty close. Like it was only a 6-3 game. They went hot in 1 inning, of course, in the first 5, which is what I was betting against. But they only got 6 runs that game. Obviously, they left 12 on base, but Rockies left 7 on base, and they still managed to get 2 runs in this game. And they didn't get a single home run. So I think if they can get even 1 home run this game, I think that's enough here to bring us over this team total. So Rockies team total will be my final bet. Just to recap, I have the under 8 in the Mets versus Twins game. Astros money line, Cubs first 5 money line, Guardians team total over 3.5, over 8.5 in the Diamondbacks Marlins game. Mariners versus Reds first 5 over 4.5. I have the Rays money line, Angels first 5 money line, and the Rockies team total over 2.5. Yeah, that's everything for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers.